Good evening, everyone. Mike with Woods, Water, and Wisdom here. Just thought I'd take the opportunity to hop on here and make a video this evening. What I was thinking about, and what I would like to bring out tonight is last few days I've been studying about Jacob in my daily Bible reading, and it's got me thinking, and it had me thinking about Jacob and the blessing. You know, the interesting thing about Jacob is his name means supplanter or deceiver. And Jacob, pretty much throughout his years growing up, he was a bit of a trickster. And so, but Jacob saw something, and Jacob had an idea about the blessing that it was important to him. He must have saw something with Grandpa, and he must have saw something with Dad that made him realize and made him think, you know, this blessing is important. It's important to have. You know, the story where Esau comes in from the field, and Esau's really hungry, and he says to Jacob, "Give me some stew, give me something to eat." And Jacob says to him, "Sell me your birthright." Esau's, whatever, what good is it to me? Take it, whatever. Just give me some food. Give me some stew. Give me something, whatever you got to eat. I don't care about that. What good is that to me right now? I'm starving. You know, he probably wasn't at the point of starvation. He was probably just extremely hungry. But he didn't value the birthright, and yet Jacob did. Jacob valued the birthright. And then when it came time for his dad said, "I'm getting old, and I want to bless you. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around, and I'm going to pass the blessing on to you." You know, and this wasn't something just simple, you know, just come in and lay hands on you and say a few things over you and everybody go about their business, their way. This was something serious. There was something conveyed and carried with this blessing. And Jacob saw that. Jacob saw in Grandpa Abraham's life, Jacob saw in his dad's life that there's something to this blessing. And he desired it. And I'm not saying the way he went about it was right, but he put value on that blessing. And so he says his mother helped him, and he put some goat skins on his neck and on his hands, and took some of Esau's clothes, and she made, you know, some game, and they went in, and Isaac blessed him. And it says right after that, Esau comes in and says, "Okay, Father, bless me." And he's like, "Well, who did I just bless?" He's like, "What you mean? You blessed somebody? What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I blessed your brother who was here before you. I've already done it. I can't undo it. There's no take-backsies." And you know, this was something he pronounced upon his son. And then, you know, here in Genesis, I'm going to read this part right here. This is where Jacob's wrestling with the Lord. And it says in chapter 32, verse 24, "So Jacob was left alone, and a man came and wrestled with him until daybreak. When the man saw that he had not prevailed against Jacob, he touched his hip joint, and Jacob's hip was dislocated as he wrestled with him. Then he said, 'Let me go, for the day is breaking.' But Jacob said, 'I will not let you go unless you declare a blessing on me.' So he asked him, 'What is your name?' And he said, 'Jacob.' And he said, 'Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed.' And then Jacob asked him, 'Please tell me your name.' And he said, 'Why is that you ask me my name?' And then he declared a blessing of the covenant promise on Jacob there. So Jacob named the place Peniel, the face of God, saying, 'For I have seen God face to face, yet my life has not been snatched away.'" So right here, Jacob's wrestling with the Lord. You know, very interesting. Jacob must have been pretty strong. Jacob must have been strong. He must have had some tenacity. He must have had some stamina. He must have been, you know, he must have been a formidable opponent, because do you think the Lord was just, you know, taking it easy on him? Or do you think they were actually wrestling? I have a feeling that they were actually wrestling pretty tough. And the Lord said, it says that he saw that he wasn't overcoming and he wasn't prevailing against him. And then Jacob said, I'm not going to let you go unless you bless me. You know, there's some determination. There's some stick to it right there. There's some, I'm not going to give up. Have you ever been in a situation where you just refuse to give up until you get the outcome you want? Jacob refused to give up until he had the blessing. He put value on that blessing. I'm not saying every single way that he went about obtaining it was right. We don't really get God chastising him for it. He explains that he went about it a way that wasn't that great, but he obtained the blessing from his father and from the Lord. And the interesting thing is he placed value on that. So he pursued it. He pursued it. He didn't just mention it one time, oh, bless me. He pursued the blessing. And there's something to be said for that. Those things that you value, those things that you put importance on, those things that you prioritize are what you're going to get in your life. You have to put value on something. Whatever you value, you will pursue. Whatever you value, you will go after. Whatever you prioritize and place importance upon, you will pursue to obtain. Jacob put the importance on the blessing, and so he pursued that. He must have thought about it quite a bit. He must have meditated on it. He must have looked for it. He must have paid attention to what the blessing did for his dad. And I'm sure he asked his dad, Dad, why did such and such happen? Why did this happen? And I'm sure his dad said, well, it's the blessing, son. It's the blessing of the Lord. Blessings of the Lord maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it. And so he saw something that took place in one's life who had the blessing, and he valued it. He put a high importance on it, so much so that he pretty much did whatever it took, really upstanding and upright or not. He did pretty much whatever it took to obtain that blessing. And then we look down on our noses and I was underhanded and he deceived and he this and that. But you know, you have to stop and look. He valued it. And so he did whatever it took to get that blessing. Do you value the blessing of the Lord that much? Do you think about the blessing? You know, we have a covenant of blessing. Jesus obtained it all for us. There was nothing more that Jesus could have done that he didn't do. He did it all to obtain everything for you, to make you an heir of salvation. And so that heir of salvation, the blessing comes inherent with that. And you should put in a value on that blessing. I want you to meditate and think about and study the blessing. And see if you're walking in the fullness of what God has obtained for you. Because there is a blessing that comes with having Jesus Christ as the Lord of your life. There should be a mark upon your life that causes you to be distinguished and to stand out. You should have something different on your life that allows others to see he's got something on him. There's something about him that's different. There's something about that person. Now, I don't know what it is. I can't quite put my finger on it, but man, he walks different. He talks different. It seems like everything he touches just succeeds. It's almost like everything he puts his hand to prospers. That's how your life should be. You should value the blessing, and you should value the things of God. Does it mean you won't have to go through some things and overcome some things and study and put in some work and effort? Nope. But it means that God's super will be on your natural, and that you'll walk in a different way, and you'll come over some things, and you'll always come out heads. You'll always be the head and not the tail. You'll always be above and not beneath. That's how your life should be. And so I want you to think about that. That's what just touched me as I was reading about Jacob, how much he valued that blessing and what he did, what lengths he went to get it. I hope you received something for this. I hope you enjoyed what I had to say, and I hope you ponder it and think on it and pursue the blessing yourself. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment down below, and we'll talk to you soon. God bless.